everyone. Today we're talking about becoming noteworthy, doing profit first planning for your business. I'm Isaiah Goodman, Chief Financial Advocate at Becoming Financial. So I read this fantastic book. It's called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. And essentially what I wanted to do today was just talk about how you could use it in your business to run a profitable business. So the numbers show maybe only about 1 out of 10 businesses actually make it past 5 years. The number one reason that most of them, if not all of them, fail is some sort of financial planning issue. It's not that they're not good at their product or their service. It's that they're not making a profit. And if you're running a business and there's no money coming home at the end of it, it's not going to work. So what this book talks about is how do you set up a profit-first business? So the name, as it is implied, it's all about how do I generate a business that makes money for me and my family and my shareholders, and we do it with our profit first in mind. So first thing is I'm not a profit first consultant. They have a really cool program where you can be a consultant, a part of their program, give advice. I'm not saying I'm one of those people yet. I might sign up in the future. Again, it's just kind of my ideas from reading the book. I really like it in terms of the first step. What he recommends is potentially even opening up 5 separate accounts. So first one is just your revenue. Whatever's coming in, it's just a catch-all bucket to say any and all revenue from different streams from my business, my service, whatever your thing is, it goes into this one account. You then take it from there. Guess what the first bucket is after that? Profit. He recommends maybe starting with like 1%, 2%, something that's easy and doable, because what most of us have been taught is you take your revenue minus expenses and that's your profit, right? But it always seems like expenses are more than what our revenue is. So whatever you take home in that revenue bucket, take 1% of it, put it into profit. Next quarter, take 2%. Next quarter, take 5%. And slowly but surely start to work up to whatever number is meaningful for you. Maybe it's 10 or 15, 20%. Maybe your industry has a certain benchmark. And so you can actually see like, hey, I'm in the construction industry. 25% profit margin is really doable. That's what you want to shoot for. Next is owner compensation. And these are different because if you're running a business, you need to get compensated as a owner and employee, and then there needs to be a profit in the business. Now, it doesn't mean it has to be astronomical. Again, you're kind of taking home some of that profit, right? But you should get compensated as a business owner and as an employee. Now, big call out here, make sure you work with an accountant and an attorney to make sure you have the right type of business set up and you keep the books the right way. But if you are a C Corp or an S Corp or an LLC, you might be able to say, hey, I'm paying myself a salary. I'm taking taxes out of that salary, and this is my owner's compensation. And then on top of that, every quarter, I'm going to pay myself, some of these profits. So those are our other 2 buckets. The next one is taxes. And I thought this was really nice in terms of myself being a business owner to just say, hey, I'm setting aside this money every month for those quarterly taxes. I'm just putting it aside into this bucket I'm not going to touch. Because again, we're taught you take your revenue minus your expenses. And as business owners, a lot of times we're taught, it's a deductible expense, right? So we try to have all these expenses that we think we can deduct, but at the end of the day, there's no money left over because we had all the expenses. And then somehow we still have to pay taxes. So set aside some money on purpose, intentionally for these taxes. So whether it's 20, 25, 30%, don't forget your state taxes. If that's, wherever you might be living, there might be certain percentages you need to set aside for a state or a city. But set aside some money from that revenue bucket. So you might have 10% profit, 20% owner's compensation, 30% taxes. The remainder then is our last bucket. It's operating expenses. What I like is that it's a different account from our revenue bucket. So now you're intentionally saying my expenses are $4,000, $8,000, whatever the number is per month. That's how much is going into this account. So then you're now forced to say, hey, this remaining 40%, whatever the number is, that's what I have to make my business live and operate on. So if you've got to trim some expenses, cut back on some services, maybe do a little bit less deductible business meal expenses, whatever you got to do to make those fit into that margin, that's going to be the way that you can be a successful business owner and set up a good profit-first financial plan. So overall, set up that revenue, profit, then you're going to do the owner's compensation, taxes, and expenses last. Now that you're operating that way, you can start to look at some of the other things about being a successful business owner.